my cyclists out there, let me know if this sounds familiar. You're being consistent with your rides, your strength training, and even your stretching. However, you're still getting that ache and pain right there in your hip. You've tried foam rolling, jammed a lacrosse ball in there, and spent countless hours stretching your glutes, but no relief is happening. I think it's safe to say that it's time for a different approach. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you my #1 technique to attack the most overlooked aspect of the hip that will relieve that pain for good. Coach Matt Pippin here, and over the last 15 years, I've helped over 1,000 professional, collegiate, and everyday athletes move, feel, and perform at their highest level. And it's important to know that there's a hierarchy for a healthy, functioning hip. Internal rotation, so the ability to rotate the foot out, which means the hip is rolling inward, is the #1 priority for the hips. However, it's usually the last thing people start to attack. It doesn't matter how many clams or glute stretches you do. The pain in your hip will never go away if your internal rotation sucks. The easiest way to attack internal rotation is using the side lying position. Now all you're going to need is a yoga block or something similar to this. Now you'll notice that I have 2 of these, but I use one strictly as a pillow to support my head, and then the other one's going to go between your knees. If you don't have these, pillows work really well. You can also use towels or even blankets. So to set up, we're going to get into that side lying position. So I'm going to attack my right leg first, which means you're going to have you guys lay on your left side. Now when you get down here, make sure your head is nice and supported with the yoga block or the pillow. And then now you want your hips, you don't want them straight out in front of you at 90 degrees. You don't want them straight south. You want somewhere kind of in the middle. The closer your knee is to the chest, the more brutal this is going to get, and you're not going to get what you want out of it. So really think that 45-degree position. Now you're going to take your pillow or yoga block and you're going to put it in between your knees, but you want a little bit of a space out here in front because we are going to let the knee roll and we want space for that. Now, here's a couple things that the way people like to cheat. First and foremost, their hips start to roll. We don't want that. We don't want anything to move except this femur and my foot rising up. That is it. So make sure your hips don't roll forward. Now #2, and this is really, really crucial, you want to think like you're engaging your bottom oblique. So your obliques is kind of like where your love handles would be. So you want to think like you're pulling your left love handles away from the floor, and you'll kind of feel your obliques contract a little bit. This is super important. It's just keeping rigidity throughout your torso and especially your core, which is going to make it more honest coming from the hip. Now to do this exercise, you can keep your hand here, or you can put it on your obliques, or you can have your hands out here and squeeze them, but just make sure nothing moves. Now we're going to do 10 reps of this thing. So we're going to squeeze the block, and we're going to rotate that foot up and hold. Check in obliques, make sure the hip, and you're going to feel this right here in your pocket. Feel that contraction. That is internal rotation happening, and this is something that is so crucial, like I said before. From here, we're just going to simply lower down slowly. That's 1 rep. Let's get 9. And as we're doing these, keep squeezing the block, checking with those obliques. See how high you can get your foot. The higher your foot is, the harder the contraction is in the tissue. Come back down slow. And we just want to move nice and easy. We don't want to jerk here. Come down nice and smooth. That's 3. Go right back up. Keep squeezing that block, checking with those obliques. See if your hip roll forward. Just nice and smooth. Let's get 5 more. Back up. And down. Get 4. Back up. Feel what's happening. Feel your femur rolling. You even put your hand right here, and you can actually feel that bone moving around. Feel all the tissue that's doing that. Now you're probably wondering, this kind of looks like a backwards clam, right? And a lot of people call them that. This is not a clam, people. This is internal rotation. Let's get 1 more. I want to come up, and I really want to squeeze. Imagine somebody's trying to push your foot down. Obliques, check in, and lower down nice and smooth. So that's the right side. Obviously, you just do the exact same thing on your left. And typically, I have people start out with 2 sets of 10. So do 10 on your right, 10 on your left, and then go back and do the right, and then obviously go back and do the left. So now that you have this exercise down, it's now time to talk about how to progress with these and how to program them. So for the first 2 weeks, stay with the 2 sets of 10 for each leg like I just talked about. After that, you progress to 2 sets of 15 and then 2 sets of 30. Yes, 30. I know it's a lot of reps, but it is worth it. Now for programming, I like to perform these 2 to 3 times per week, preferably on days you ride or you perform your favorite activity. And real quick, if you want another great mobility exercise to work on those hips, check out my 3 must-have mobility moves in the link below. It includes a hip mobility exercise that will unglue those hips really quick, I promise. And it's completely free, so check it out. If you guys have questions or comments on today's coaching, be sure to post them below, and if tips like this are helpful to you, go ahead and hit me a like or share so I know what videos you want to see more of. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you're not missing out on all the awesome content we have coming your way. Until next time, remember to be strong, be mobile.